We're smoking that Bucks pack. This is a matchup that the Cowboys are going to steamroll the Bucks. I'm here. I'm dressed for the Bucks funeral, for Bucks bettors funeral, for Buccaneers fans funeral. What's next for Tom Brady? What's next for Tampa Bay? Let's get into it. The Buccaneers just closed out their season in what was some pretty embarrassing fashion. I think this was a year for the Bucks, 8-9. Honestly, that felt like it was doomed from the start. I think Brady set up this organization in a really, really tough spot heading into this season, finishing the year, like I mentioned, 8-9, but it feels like the season was decided in the offseason. Brady's retirement, he decides to come back, but that wasn't without consequences being paid. Ali Marpet retires, Alex Kappa leaves for Cincinnati, and I think from the beginning here, this Buccaneers season was in a tough spot, not just from the injury perspective. They lose Ryan Jensen, but it comes into this final game of the season in the playoffs, falling 31-14 to Dallas. And I think in a big reason, in a big way, that this all came to a front in this final game of the year in the wildcard round comes down to that offensive line, that protection throughout the season. We all saw it. It was something Tom just didn't trust all year. And I think if you look at his numbers throughout the season, it really tells the story compared to last season when he put up over 45 touchdowns. Look at this past year. He had a yards per attempt of 6.4, which was 36th amongst quarterbacks in the NFL, a 66.8% completion percentage, 9th in the NFL, respectable. That passer rating, 20th, 90.8 passer rating on the season. Tom Brady came into this year and comes into every year now past his age 40 season with the expectation of being well protected. I think Tom still has the arm, still has the capability of being a great quarterback in this league. I think we saw it last year when the pieces were in place, but we look at him this year under pressure, 44.4% completion percentage under pressure, 28th, a yards per attempt of 4, 39th, 5 interceptions, which was 27th. Pass protection is always the answer. We're going to talk a bit about where is the next destination, where is Tom going to play in 2023? Is he going to play in 2023? But I think a lot of it comes down to, in his mind and his decision that he's going to make, whether or not he's going to play next season, will need to be in a place where he is well protected. That is where he flourishes. That is where the team that he plays for can win football games. We saw throughout the season those numbers that I mentioned were skewed because of pass protection. He actually was had the lowest pressure rate in the league. It's kind of shocking, 19.5%, which was first in the NFL. But the team in second was 26%. Such a massive gap. And that's because Brady, at his age and at the time in his career, is not looking to take a lot of contact, is not willing to risk contact during the regular season. So we're looking for the next destination for Tom. It needs to be a place where he will be well protected. We'll go through these teams. Let's start with Tampa Bay. The betting board actually shows that that Tom's number one destination could be Tampa Bay, back in Tampa Bay. I think that is very, very, very much not in the cards. The Tampa Bay Bucks are in a terrible spot heading into next season. You look at their free agents, Levante David, Akeem Hicks, William Golston, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Logan Ryan, Jamel Dean, Mike Edwards, so many free agents that this team needs to be able to bring back if they're going to have any chance at signing Brady and bringing him back in Tampa Bay. I don't think that's going to be possible. Brady needs a contract. All of these guys need contracts. There's a lot of problems in Tampa. The pass protection is one. Two for me is being able to rush the passer. There's no talent there. They lose both their edge defenders in Hicks and Golston, who I don't think are very good players either. But I think Tom in Tampa is very, very far-fetched, and I think a lot of Buccaneers fans feel the same way. But definitely, if you feel differently, you can let me know in the comments. But that's really how I think things shake out. But let's go to some of the teams that have been constantly talked about, teams that are involved, teams that everybody is thinking as possible destination. The first one here, which really surprised me, the Tennessee Titans. The Titans have been a team that apparently in 2020 talked to Brady a fair bit about coming to Tennessee. I think 2 years ago, that makes a lot of sense. Right now, where this Titans team is at, I don't think it makes any sense. Of course, spent the year being very banged up, but the big thing for me, again, we'll go back to with each and every team here, is pass protection. This team was 30th in pressure rate allowed, over 40% this season. That's not something Tom Brady at his age can work with. You talk about the strengths of this team, weak division, stout run game, but I think the deciding factor here is that offensive line. So I think Brady as a Titan is something we likely will not see next year. The next one here, Raiders. The Raiders are definitely one that's highly in consideration, I think, for a lot of people, but also for Brady. You look at, of course, the familiarity with Josh McDaniels, someone he's played behind for so long. He's going to be familiar with the offense. And then the weapons. Like, again, the consideration, I think another reason that Brady left New England came down to some of those offensive weapons too. And we've got a team here, the Raiders, with Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, Devontae Adams. If they can bring back Josh Jacobs as well, which I think if you bring Brady in, Jacobs could potentially be interested in coming back, considering all those words he said about the team in the end of the season here. So it is a good destination. The Raiders' pass protection, I think, is still a question mark. They were 21st in pressure rate this season allowed. I still think there's question marks there, but I think in McDaniel's system, we have seen it improve compared to previous years. But I think the big question for me, for whether or not Brady would want to go here, is he has to consider that he's going to have to play Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes twice a year. And then as well, this Broncos team is no slouch. I know they're coming off a terrible year, but we know they have a quality defense, and there is always the potential of a good coaching hire can have them bounce back. The other one, Jets. The Jets have been a constant talking point for a lot of people with their, no longer having Zach Wilson really in the cards, I think. And the Jets are a team with an elite defense, really good defense. And the other thing you look at is I think the offensive weapons are also a little bit underrated here. Garrett Wilson had a fantastic season. I think you'd see a much better production from Elijah Moore next year, especially with the quarterback change. And we've seen that, like I mentioned, the defense was great. I don't think that changes. The question is, again, we come back to with every team here, offensive line. Protection was not good. I mean, Tom Brady was probably the second worst quarterback in the NFL under pressure other than Zach Wilson. So can the offensive line be shored up? I do think it can. Mekhi Becton was out this season. They lost George Fant, I believe, as well. They drafted Elijah Vera Tucker. This team is improving. Now, does Brady want to go against Bill Belichick twice a year? Does he want to play in the AFC East again and be challenging the Bills as well? That's definitely a question. But Brady in New York could make a lot of sense in my mind. 49ers, that is another big one. I think one of the, in my mind, would be the favorite. The 49ers are, of course, an offense that is absolutely stacked with talent between Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and a great offensive line led by Trent Williams and a fantastic play caller in Kyle Shanahan. So playmakers are there. Offensive line is there. The defense is there. I mean, this team is in a window that they can't let pass. And that is the big thing for me is, of course, Brady's decision here isn't going to come until this season is over. And based on how this 49ers season goes, if they were to fall here in the divisional round, if they were to fall in the NFC Championship game, hell, if they were to fall in the Super Bowl, this team could say, our window is closing. There's a lot of young talent here that is going to need to get paid. Can we afford to bring these guys back, keep the nucleus, and have a quarterback that can win us a Super Bowl? Because Brock Purdy, I watched him in the wild card round, and I am far from a believer. But the weapons are so incredible that this could happen even with Purdy. But could this team be willing to risk a Brock Purdy-led, a Trey Lance-led team next season and miss another chance at a Super Bowl? Maybe they bring Brady in. Because Brady, of course, a San Francisco fan as a child, I think the 49ers are a team that make a hell of a lot of sense, but are they willing to risk long-term to bring Brady in the short term after a season where he really struggled? That's the big question here. A few more teams I do want to throw out to you guys. I do think are teams that are compelling that not enough people are talking about. I want to start with two that I think some people have thought about. The Patriots, great offensive line. You've got the good defense, but the team is lacking playmakers. If Brady's assured that maybe a DeAndre Hopkins, who looks to be available, is someone that the Patriots target and bring in with Brady, it could happen. They could bring him back because the quarterback room is still a question mark with Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. I think it's a far-fetched. I don't think Brady wants to kind of spend another season with Belichick and how hard-headed he is as a coach in terms of, the Bucs gave him all that time away from the team in training camp. Would Bill Belichick do something like that? I don't really know. Dolphins, elite weapons, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, struggling offensive line though. The Dolphins are, of course, a team that Brady talked to this past offseason apparently, so it could be in the cards. I do think we saw when Tua got hurt, this offense changed immensely. I think it gives Tua a lot of credit for what he's done this past season. So I think, you're risking a lot by bringing Brady in. I don't think you're going to have a happy Tua Tagovailoa. I think he could be looking to go elsewhere if you did that. That'd be a huge risk. Here's one. Here are two crazy ones for you guys. The Baltimore Ravens. What if Lamar Jackson does not want to be a Baltimore Raven? What if he tells the team, you want to tag me? I'm not going to play. Like, you want to tag me? That's fine, but you're not getting me on the field this coming season. And maybe this team looks to trade Lamar Jackson's rights to somebody else here. Maybe they let him walk. But the Ravens are a talented defense. They have a good offensive line. The question mark is the weapons. A good run game as well, which Brady would love to have, which he didn't have the last couple of seasons here. The weapons. Mark Andrews, potentially healthy Rashad Bateman. Could they bring in another weapon for him, which they haven't done for Lamar Jackson? That is a potential destination in my mind. The last one here, Washington, the Commanders. The Commanders are filled with weapons. Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel. The run game between Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson, meh. But weapons in the pass game, solid defense, but do you want to enter a competitive division with the Dallas Cowboys, the New York Giants, the Philadelphia Eagles? Just one to throw out there. Again, I think there are plenty of destinations here. What I can assure you in is I don't think Tom Brady is coming back to Tampa Bay. He needs to find a destination where he's well protected, and he's at a stage in his career where nobody's going to be judging him for chasing rings. He's 46, 47 years old. I mean, go chase the rings, go find the perfect destination. And I think Tom Brady is still a capable quarterback in the NFL. He just needs to be in the right situation. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is Tom Brady playing another season? If he is, where's he going to play? Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed, and we will see you on the next one.